Welcome to our program, Coach-to-Coach. Today's guest is Ashley Gillen Long. Ashley is a burnout prevention and clarity coach, helping people move from frazzled to living their best lives. Ashley and I completed our clarity coach training together under Jamie Smart. Thanks for joining us today, Ashley. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Greg. It's lovely to
Yeah,
be here with you.
my pleasure. My pleasure. So the way I like to start these discussions is to ask what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Hmm. Um, well, Jamie Smart would be in a nutshell would be the thing that really sort of grabbed my interest. But I suppose it was part of my sort of professional development. 2007, I qualified as a therapist, and I just love to add as many sort of different tools to my toolbox to be able to work with clients.
Mm.
And I suppose historically, people who come for therapy have a belief. I'm not saying it's true. I don't believe it is, but they're broken or that they have a physical or, sorry, an emotional injury that they want to fix. Whereas with coaching, usually people come for different reasons. So it's lovely to have I suppose a box of tricks would maybe not be the right word, but I suppose it's a toolkit.
Yeah.
So professional development to me is really exciting, and stumbling across Jamie Smart has opened up a whole new world of being able to support and coach clients.
I'm curious, when you first came across him, was he already doing clarity or was it his previous NLP business? Do you remember?
No, he was, it was clarity,
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
clarity. And a colleague of mine sort of highly recommended him. And what I loved was that he taught through doing. You know,
Mhm.
I really love the experiential way of learning as against reading loads of books and literature. So
Yeah.
actually seeing him in practice was magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had the pleasure of meeting him in person?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I think one of the final days a few years ago, like the last program in sort of July, August, when people
Yeah.
get together, because so much of it was on sort of Zoom due
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
pandemic. Um, and yeah, there's something quite magical about Jamie. It's lovely to be in his presence.
Yeah. I agree. I got to meet him this past July after spending 3 years intensively training with him, but following him for, I don't know, more than 10 years probably. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So I'm really curious about your practice, who you're working with, how you're helping people. Maybe you can give us a little rundown of what you're up to.
Okay, so as I said, my practice sort of covers therapy and coaching.
Mm.
And I sort of specialize in people who want to change something in their life, or they're at a moment in their life where things are becoming so overwhelmed, they're almost being forced to change things. So presently, I work in some colleges with young people. They're sort of 16 to 18. They're sort of doing their A levels and then going on to perhaps university, or maybe doing something very, very different. And then I deal with individuals, usually professionals, who have experienced burnout, who or are feeling they're heading in that way, and they want to live life very differently. And I suppose that the background to that is I actually experienced burnout myself in 2001. I didn't see it coming. I believed I was superwoman. I believed, I just pulled my pants up higher and got on with stuff. And I didn't see any of the signs, the headaches, the migraine. I didn't see anything. So I crashed and burned quite badly. And my recovery was therapeutic support, coaching support, and literally piecing my life back together, piece by piece. It was like a jigsaw puzzle that had a bomb put underneath it, and it couldn't find its way to being put back together.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how prevalent overwhelm, burnout, um, all
Mm.
these things have become in our society. I know for me, my body was trying to tell me the same thing. I had an eye twitch for 18 months or so at one
Okay.
point in my career. And 30 minutes after I resigned from that job, my eye hasn't twitched since.
Isn't it just, I think it's amazing how intelligent, how clever our bodies are. They're sending us signs all the time, but for some reason we just choose to ignore them. And it's quite magical. You think if we could just slow down
Yeah,
and listen to what's going on, I think I know personally I would have made different choices.
yeah, yeah. for
But
sure.
I think it's a lot to do with, for me personally, it was a lot to do with I should, I must, I have to, consistently seeking, bigger and bigger goals, external validation. And I just lost myself in it. I
Yeah.
really lost myself. And it took for my body, eventually what happened was I lost my short-term memory. So I
Mm,
couldn't work. I had to stop.
yeah.
I was taking tablets for migraines and, doing so
Yeah.
many things to keep the engine going.
Yeah.
And then that was like the final straw. My body was like, no, you have to stop. You
Yeah.
have to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to your point, that's isn't it amazing how eventually our system finds a way to get our attention
Mm.
when we won't listen to it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah, magical,
very
magical.
cool. Very cool.
Um,
I'd love to hear some examples of how coaching or therapy has helped you or people you work with, and
mhm.
the kinds of insights that you've had around managing through burnout, rebuilding your life. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, I like to use myself as an example. I feel like I'm my own best medicine, and I
Mm,
like to learn through. I don't like to learn through mistakes, but I that is actually how I learn the best. So
mm,
I like to help other people to not have to make those mistakes and sort of get in before anything gets too bad. But I suppose through coaching, I've been able to see myself as a very different individual. I think old Ashley was sort of living in this world of what does everybody else think? I have to be good enough, or I have to be better actually than anybody else, or somebody else is going to come along and take my job. So I was pushed the whole time. There was never a time when I was allowed to take my foot off the gas, because of fear that somebody else would jump in and take my job.
mm,
Which now looking back on it, just it has, even just saying those words has like a real physical impact on me. I think how awful to live like that. And I would, people would say, oh, hi, I'm so and so, who are you? What do you do? Blah, blah, or, tell me about you. And I go, oh, yeah, I'm Ashley. Yeah, I design for Burberry's. I do manufacturing all over the world. I do. And they go, oh, okay, great. Have you got a family? You go, oh, yeah, yeah. I've got two kids and a husband. And I think, reverse those, Ash.
yeah.
I'm validating myself by my achievements
Mm,
because that was my belief system. That was what I felt. That's how I thought the world worked, and I
yeah.
didn't realize how important it was to sort of slow down and I was a human doing as against a human being,
Mm,
and that was a huge connection for me to actually sort of flip um, and actually realize that if I looked within, I had everything already that I needed. But running along at 101 miles an hour, I was disconnected from it. And actually learning to slow down, I began to reconnect with some of my natural abilities that I didn't even know I had.
so I'm curious, based on your, how do you introduce yourself now then? Is it hi, I'm Ashley, I'm a mom, and et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera?
Well, my husband will kill me for this, but normally I say, "Hi, I'm Ashley. I've got three kids if I include my husband."
Okay.
He won't be happy with that one,
Yeah.
but no,
You must know my wife because that's something similar she says.
well, I need to meet her. But yeah, it's a very it's a beautiful way to live,
Yeah.
to be in the moment,
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful quote that I heard. This won't be to everybody's taste, so take note. But it's a quote that says, "If you have one foot in the past and the other in the future, all you're doing is pissing on the now."
Mm,
And for me, it just caught me, because that's how I lived my life. I say I'd be doing something fabulous, like, I don't know, golfing with girlfriends, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Maybe even playing well, rare, but anyway. But even as I'm doing that, my head was racing about, okay, so what else do I have to do? What reports do I have to write? Who do I need to email? So I really missed the beauty of what I was doing in that moment. And that was a huge learning to me to and I still have to catch myself, it was so at my soul that that's how you had to be. that every now and again I'll catch myself. If I've got a lot on, I've got a very busy week. I'll
Yeah.
catch myself, but I push back now. I'm a lot better at catching myself and pushing it
Yeah.
back.
A question occurs to me is around this idea of slowing down and being more present.
Mm,
And I mean, like you, I was caught up in the idea that in order to be successful and to get good results and so on, I had to be a certain way.
mhm, mhm.
And the idea of slowing down was like, no, 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 like that's
Oh, absolutely.
everything's going to fall apart. But in
Yeah.
reality, when I did that, everything was actually so much better. I performed better.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if that's been a similar experience for you and your clients in terms of once you get more present, not one foot in the past, one foot in the future, and just being in the present, that things just happen so much more, I don't know, smoothly, easily, and you get better results than you could have ever imagined.
Yeah. I resonate with that. And it just and life feels better, It's because it's you actually notice things. My kids used to say that I would they'd be talking and they could see when they'd lost me, my eyes would just go all hazy and
Yeah,
I'd cut in with something. And it's because I lived in that like, oh, I've just thought of something, I have to say it now, because I was so scared of forgetting it or, and it's just like literally that's how I live.
yeah,
So now it's if I miss something or I forget it, I'm like, well, if it's that important, it will come back to me.
yeah,
And I'm just I'm not having to prove myself to anybody. It's I've got to this ripe old age through, learning through doing. And, I love the way now that, had somebody said to me when I worked in fashion, blah, 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 I would have and they said to me, "Oh, you're actually going to go and become a therapist and a coach." I would have I would never have been able to put that together. So I believe that when I was in my moment of burnout, it was horrendous, and I really thought it was the end of life as I knew it, and I couldn't. It was such an awful experience. It really was. It felt like all my power had just like fizzled away, and that I'd lost control of my life. But now looking back on it. It was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me
mm,
because it literally, my life pivoted then. It was like there's more to life than making other people really wealthy through me working like a lunatic. Um, and my learning was, by losing what I was so proud of, my memory, and it was my forte, having everything sort of taken away and had like a clean slate, I was sort of able to sort of rebuild myself. And being able to do it for myself was just an amazing gift. And I believe, things happen in life for reasons. And I believe that was the experience I was meant to have to now go on to help all the people that I help.
yeah,
And from a place of knowing as against a place of I read this book. It's like I've been there and I've got the t-shirt.
yeah, yeah. I love that. It really resonates with me. I had an insight into times in my life or my career where historically I would have looked back on those moments and regretted them and been like, oh, I'd wish this had never happened. Some of them around like restructurings and becoming redundant in your job, things like that.
Yeah,
And now I look back and I go like, thank God that happened. Like I wouldn't be here talking to Ashley right now
exactly.
if that hadn't happened. So I've kind of seen for myself too, just the taking in stride what life throws at us. And I
Mm.
mean, it's not saying, there's ups and downs and there's moments when we're kind of struggling and things, but um, I'm hard pressed these days to look back at anything in my life with regret and wishing that it had been different. Um, it's
Uh,
funny, my nephew's coming over on Tuesday for his birthday, his 17th birthday, and when my sister was a teenager, she had cancer and had a hysterectomy and
oh gosh.
can't have kids. Anyway,
No.
fast forward, I don't know how many years, it's been 30 something years now. Her
Mm.
adopted son is going to be celebrating his 17th birthday. So it's like,
Oh,
even something that is horrific as that has
yeah.
brought this young man into our lives that otherwise wouldn't have happened. So
Oh, amazing.
it's, things like that remind me that, just we can handle whatever comes our way. Um,
Most
and when
definitely.
you look back in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, that was a pretty big fork in the road, but
Mm,
um, you know, being grateful for what we have this much further down that road. So
yeah. I really believe in that, Greg. I think that it's like I try to look at things as being experiments,
mhm,
so that we have experiments and we have outcomes.
mm,
Uh, my sort of historical way of being was very literal and very black and white, right and wrong, and putting things into boxes. And I think it's just so much easier when we experiment and
mm,
we just have some fun. And from every experiment, we learn something, and that learning will take us down another path that
yeah,
maybe we wouldn't have gone if we hadn't done the experiment.
yeah. I love that. I love the idea of the experiment because it's like presuppose that you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You might have a hypothesis,
Yeah.
but I mean, part of the fun of experimenting is discovering something completely new and unexpected. Um, so as long as you don't blow your house up or something.
Hopefully not.
I got as a young kid, I used to get in trouble for mixing bathroom cleaners and things together to see what would happen. So I guess I've been an experimenter for a long time,
I,
and,
I
and
love
playing with matches, things like that. Things
that.
kids do.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, I'm curious if there's one thing that you'd want to share with people or want them to know with all your experience as a therapist and a coach. What would that be?
I think the thing that really sort of resonates for me is enjoy the journey.
Mm,
It's I think so much and so many people I meet, they're just like on this journey that I'll be happy when
mm,
I've made my first million. I'll be happy when I've got the house with a sweeping drive, or I'm driving such and such a car. And it's like the problem with that is as soon as you get there, it just deflates, it's gone, and that excitement, you may have it for it's momentary, you don't have it for forever and ever. It's not like you won't have that wonderful feeling. So for me, I really like to say to people, let's enjoy the journey. Like the fun starts now. You don't have to hold your breath. You don't have to wait till you've got these things. Let's have fun now. You've got one shot at this
mm,
life. Yeah. Let's make it the best experience you can have every single day,
mm.
not just waiting until you've achieved something.
Love that. Yeah, such a powerful way to look at the world. It's great. So if people are interested in getting in touch with you, finding out more about your therapy and coaching business, how would people find you?
Okay, so my business name is Trust the Process. My email is ashley at trusttheprocessnow.co.uk, and my website is
Mm,
trusttheprocessnow.co.uk. So, and I'm always, I'm happy to chat. I love talking, as you can probably tell. I like just to, I think it's really important when people enter into either coaching or therapy that they find the right person for them.
mm,
Okay. And I think that connection is very, very important. So I always offer people a free sort of discovery call, 30 minutes, chat, ask questions, see whether I'm the right person for them, and see that I can help them. I need to be the right person for them too,
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I love that. I love your the name of your business, Trust the Process. It's
Do you know what's quite bizarre is that when I trained many, many years ago,
yeah.
one of my lecturers used to say to me, and I was very literal at the time, this was one of my problems. And she used to say to me, Ashley, just trust the process. And I was like, "Oh, if she says that one more time, I'm going to lose my mm-mm."
Mm,
And it just stuck with me. And then after years, it just sort of for me, it was just such a wonderful like trust, and it's almost now I want to say trust your process
yeah.
rather than the process. Maybe I should rename my company,
Mm,
but um, but there's something quite calming about that, as
yeah.
against that you have to do something. It's just about trusting.
Yeah.
Just know that you'll go wherever you have to go, and you'll be wherever you have to be, and
Yeah.
and it will unfold. It will
Yeah.
unfold.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if it's helpful, but I'll share what comes to my mind with trust the process is the first thing is, oh, there's a process. It's
Yeah.
like what a relief,
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
that. I love that part of it. And then the trust, has to do with what you talked about earlier, like slowing down, letting go, and just, the distinction you made between human doing, human being,
Mhm.
like all those things uh, intermix. So yeah, I love it. My first job at a school was at a meat processing plant, which is a very process driven business. And I often
Yeah.
think back to my whole career and how useful it was that my first experience in employment was very process related. I
Okay.
took a program called Working for Quality, and the first sentence in this program. So this is 1995. This is how long
Okay.
this has stuck with me.
Mhm,
Is everything is a process, and
mhm.
again, just so the fact that that word is kind of shown up today
Yeah.
is a great reminder that things have a natural way of being, a natural
Mhm.
order to them, and if you just follow it, everything will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Just it's about getting off that treadmill, and not having to race through life at 101 miles an hour. But I think it's sometimes it's scary, and I think that's when the support of a coach or a therapist comes in. That you can journey with somebody and have that support.
Yeah,
Uh, I think is a lovely way to do it.
yeah, yeah. Speaking to you as a coach, I agree 100%.
Well, of course.
Well, this has been lots of fun, Ashley. Great seeing you today and hearing a little bit about what you're up to. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Greg, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's been great to chat to you today as
Yeah,
well.
my
Thank you.
pleasure. Thanks. Take care.
And you. Bye for now.